when you reach a certain age, curiosity is more interesting than vanity. So you use the glasses, I guess, all the time. But before I do anything here, I'd like to recognize Lori and Andy Simpson right here. If y'all would please stand, I would appreciate it. And if y'all would give them a round of applause. When we talk about first responders, they were truly our first responders, and some things I'm going to tell you about a little bit later on. I appreciate the opportunity to be here on a number of reasons. Number one, I'm thrilled to be vertical rather than horizontal, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But also, it's very ironic that my wife Cookie and I are here tonight because this property where we are belonged to my mother and father. They also own the property across the street where Charlotte Plastics is now. And so I grew up here. My father was a professional photographer, but he is also a dairy farmer. And up until I was about 10 or 11 years old, all my friends grew up on dairy farms. I thought that everybody got up and milked cows every morning. That's just the way of life for us. So it means a lot for us to be back here, not only in this building, but also to be on this property. We have a lot of connections. Obviously, I grew up here. I went to Shiloh Elementary School, graduated from Sun Valley. I have two sisters that still live here. Suzette was in Union County School. She was an art teacher. And my brother-in-law, her husband, Bill, was a guidance counselor, ironically, at the Career Center. And then my younger sister, Denise, worked South Piedmont Community College. Her office was right around the corner here, and she did a lot of continuing education. And of course, a lot of friends and a lot of people that we have known here for a long number of years. And just to give you a little bit more background, we actually live in Asheboro, North Carolina, which is right in the center of the state. It's where the North Carolina Zoo is located. So periodically we have that opportunity to drive down from Asheboro to come over to Monroe. And so that's just a little background on us. I want to scoot back to the morning of July 22nd of this past year. There were several EMT personnel from Union County got ready to go to work that morning. And I'm sure somebody asked them, well, what are you going to do today? Well, anybody in emergency management services can tell you the answer to that question is, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do today, because every day is different from the day before. I see a lot of nodding out there. You never know whether you're going to be responding to 7 auto accidents or 1. You don't know whether you're going to be called to some home where there's someone that's sick that needs attention, whether that's going to be 8 or 9 times during the day, or whether it's going to be twice. You just don't know. You can't plan your day. The good thing about it is that this is a really positive thing about the job that you're getting ready to embark on. It's exciting to know that you really can't plan your day. You can plan some things, but for the most part, you don't know whether you're going to be a busy day, or whether you're going to have, a very quiet day. And also, at the end of the day, usually there's somebody who's going to ask you another kind of question, and that happened on July 22nd also. Because there were a select few EMTs that particular day when they got home, and someone asked them, well, what did you do today? And they answered the question the way all of you want to answer that question. They said, I saved somebody's life. And that life was mine, my wife's. It was a busy day for EMT that day. To give you just a few details and leaving out most of the gore, I will tell you that we realized that there were a lot of angels around us. We left Asheboro, we drove down Highway 49, we got to Mount Pleasant, turned to the left, went through Mount Pleasant, cut across the country, went over to 601, went down through Midland, and had the good fortune of what we did not know what was awaiting us, that we crossed out of Cabarrus County into Union County. We were driving along, minding our own business, actually coming down to see my sister, who had just gotten out of the hospital. And it was a nice, beautiful, hot, sunny day. And about a mile north of Fairview, as we were driving along, we were in the southbound lane, we noticed a truck in the northbound lane had slowed down quite a bit and did not have a turn signal on, so we didn't know whether they were turning right or turning left or whatever. And we got up close to the truck, and then all of a sudden, we saw another truck coming behind that truck and apparently did not realize that the truck had slowed down or stopped. That truck had the opportunity to either do one of three things. Either to go into the ditch, hit the truck, or the third thing, which is what he did, was he crossed a solid yellow line and he hit us head on. He was in a truck and we were in a Camry. And I just remember being stunned. And then the next thing I knew, our two wonderful angel first responders showed up and helped us to get out of the car. You remember little bitsy things, and some of the things, if anybody's ever been in an auto accident, know that whenever those airbags deploy, there's this powder that comes out, and it is so fine it looks like smoke. And we thought the car was on fire. And Lori and Andy worked before the EMTs even got there to help us get out of the vehicle. Then we heard a wonderful, wonderful sound. It was almost like angels singing, but it was sirens. And we knew that you guys were on the way. I don't remember much about anything else, but I can tell you this. We were injured very badly. My wife had 2 broken ankles, a broken hand, 2 broken ribs, broken sternum, and she cracked 4 vertebrae. And she had 6 surgeries at the hospital for internal injuries. I broke 4 ribs, my sternum, broke my pelvis, broke my nose, cracked my collarbone and 4 vertebrae. But the worst part was that I had a gash right here, my lower left side, and did not know how bad it was. I think Lori knew how bad it was because she was helping me to get over to the side of the road. And when the EMT people showed up, whoever they are, they went to work on me and my wife to get us transported to the trauma center in Charlotte. I don't remember much because apparently I was going in and out, and I found out later that I had nicked that femoral artery right there. So I was bleeding. You should see the looks on the faces of all the students right here. They just got out of class, and they know what that means. Every single one of them just went, just like that. So I was bleeding a lot. Now, I remember one of the EMTs, after they cut our clothes off, got this big wad of gauze, and someone said, put that in that gash and hold it as hard as you can. And I remember it hurt. And apparently fading in and out, I also remember the EMT behind me shouting at me over and over and over as I would start to fade out, and he'd say the same thing. He'd say, stay with me, Stay with me. And he said it so forcefully that I didn't want to disappoint him. So I stayed with him. I also remember the driver maneuvering that ambulance not only very skillfully, but very verbally to some of the other drivers that were in her way. As my kind of woman, that drives that way. We got to the hospital in Charlotte. Another thing that might make you wince a little bit was my blood pressure was 50/30 when I got there. And so we don't remember much for the next 4 days. But between us, we had 8 surgeries, and they had to reattach a lot of stuff here and there. And we survived. And we survived for one reason, is that the EMTs did their job. They knew what to do. They had been trained, and they knew what to do. Now, all of you have been trained, but once again, they did not know what their day was going to entail. They didn't know how busy it was going to be, how easy it was going to be, or how bad it was going to be. And I'm sure that the EMTs that responded to us have seen worse days, because we were one of those good parts is the fact that we survived. So what about you guys? You've been in class. You've worked on the simulators. You've watched the videos. You've listened to the instructors. You've taken all the notes. You studied. You apparently passed all the tests because you're here tonight for graduation. You have the knowledge. And I know that at some point you have asked yourself this question: can I do this in real life? Can I do this when it counts? Can I do this professionally? Can I do it when somebody's life is on the line? Well, the answer is yes, you can. You can do it. Just like all the emergency medical technicians that worked on us, they knew exactly what to do. Their training took over. Now in the future, all these emergency situations, they're going to be varied and they're going to be different, but so is your training. You'll know what to do. Don't doubt yourselves. Don't doubt yourselves. You have the ability. You have the training. You have the knowledge. You have the professionalism. You have the drive. And when the time comes, you'll know what to do. You'll be able to do it. And then there's going to be a day, it's going to be really busy for you. And you've worked on a lot of people. You've let your training take control of what you do. The good thing about it is that you'll go home that night and somebody's going to ask you, what'd you do? You'll say, I saved somebody's life. I saved a life today.